I am here on Park Street in Atlantic Beach. Why am I here? Because of this week's Parsha. I'm standing in front of this very cool retro telephone booth that I pass all the time, and I've always thought about making a Parsha video here. Truth is, there's something about communication in the old way and the new way that I'd like to discuss in this week's Parsha. Parshas Balak deals mostly with the non-Jewish prophet Bilam, and God's communicating with him, and the Balak's attempt to hire Bilam to curse the Jewish people. Normally, when God speaks to Moshe, we hear the word Vayikra. God calls out to Moshe. We hear this over and over again. It's even the name of one of the Sfarim in the Torah. But when God speaks to Bilam, it says Vayikar without the aleph at the end, Vayikar. Why is the difference? As a matter of fact, in the beginning of Vayikra, there's a small aleph. Why is there a small aleph? It says Vav, Yud, Kuf, Resh, and then a small little aleph in a much smaller font. Why? The Medrash tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu said, Vayikar, I'm like Bilam, I'm like that prophet. And Hashem says, what, are you crazy? You're Moshe Rabbeinu, you're not like Bilam. And Moshe said, fine. And if I have to put the aleph in, I'm going to make it small. That shows the humility of Moshe Rabbeinu. The Sachatchover Rebbe tells us why the difference between Vayikra and Vayikar. With Moshe Rabbeinu, every time he spoke to God, aleph, the oneness of Hashem, the aleph was added because Moshe was elevated by speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But Bilam remained the same Bilam, Harasha. He remained Bilam even after speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When we go into a phone booth, we speak. But in phone booths like this, they didn't have satellite communications. You were speaking on the ground. The wires were on top a little. They weren't going into the sky like our phones do today, like our cell phones, satellite communication. You were grounded. And Bilam was the same way. He was grounded. You know, and I think of phone booths, I think of Superman transforming from Clark Kent into Superman. He always ran into a phone booth. And that aleph at Vayikra enables us to do that. That we can talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and by doing so, we're greatly elevated. As we go into the 3 weeks, it's a period of time when Hashem is more distant from us. And may we have the opportunity to communicate, to be closer to Hashem, to bridge that gap that is so observed on Tisha B'Av, that tragedy of distance from Hashem, and may we become closer, and we all become Vayikra Jews. Good Shabbos.